Okay, so let's unpack this. We've been looking through the source material you shared, and it touches on something really compelling, I think, about modern relationships.
Yeah, definitely. It seems to suggest that, well, a lot of people are kind of stepping back from these extremes we've seen.
Right, these extremes. The sources call them purity culture wrapped in shame on one side,
Hmm.
and then hookup culture wrapped in emptiness on the other. It feels like people have tried both.
Exactly. And found both lacking, essentially. The material talks about this new whisper starting up, search for something else.
Something more grounded, maybe. They use the term wisdom culture in one source.
That's it. Wisdom culture. So, our mission here, I guess, is to dig into what that really means based on your sources. What are people actually looking for now?
And it's interesting how the sources frame those extremes, isn't it? It's not just about, what people do.
No, it's the why.
Yeah.
Like repression presented as being holy versus um, casual encounters presented as liberation.
But maybe neither felt truly liberating or fulfilling in the end.
That seems to be the core idea. People aren't necessarily becoming like cold or anti-relationship. They've just learned where those paths often lead.
Yeah, often to feeling disconnected, dissatisfied. One phrase from the material really stood out to me. Love is tired.
Hmm, that hits hard. It does feel like a kind of collective exhaustion, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
But the sources are quite clear. It's not cynicism setting in, it's weariness.
Weariness with what specifically?
Well, the performance, I think, the constant
Uh-huh.
vibe checks, the games,
Yeah.
breadcrumbing, ghosting, all that stuff.
Right. The stuff that requires you to act cool, casual, detached.
Exactly. But the sources suggest that underneath that cool facade, there was often this simple hope,
A hope for what?
just for someone to really see them
Hmm.
and choose to stay, not just for a night or a week.
Which, I mean, that brings up a really big question the sources explore. What is that fundamental need? What are we actually wired for?
Yeah, what's underneath it all?
The material describes it as a deep, almost, biological ache.
Biological. Wow.
Yeah, the need to be truly chosen, to be known,
Yeah.
fully known, and crucially, the need not to be abandoned. It even mentions things like oxytocin, our wiring for trust, for attachment.
Attachment to someone who offers consistency, perhaps, not just fleeting intensity.
Precisely. Someone consistent.
So, okay, if people are moving away from the extremes, what are they moving towards? The sources propose something else is emerging, right?
Yeah, they talk about finding a middle path, but importantly, it's not about compromise in a wishy-washy way.
No. What defines it then?
Clarity, that's the word they use.
Clarity.
Clarity. Okay, what does that look like in practice, according to the material?
It's described as like honoring your body and protecting your soul simultaneously, believing deep love is possible, but also understanding relationships take work, real work.
And that they will be hard sometimes. It's not always going to be easy.
Absolutely. It's about wanting to build something resilient, something lasting, rather than just playing those superficial games. And building resilience.
Yeah.
The material mentions needing more than just that initial spark, that chemistry. It talks about needing blueprints. What are those?
Blueprints, yeah. According to the notes, it's like having a shared vision, a mutual agreement, a commitment to actually build something together.
So compatibility gets you started, maybe.
Right, compatibility might open the door. But it's the commitment, the shared blueprint that gets you through the tough stuff.
Like what kind of tough stuff?
Oh, the inevitable challenges, getting through hard life stages together, shifts in mental health over time, maybe shared grief years down the line. Life happens.
Yeah, life definitely happens.
And the sources emphasize something important here. You don't need a perfect partner. You need someone committed, someone who will hold your hand when life breaks, who stays even when you're not easy to love.
That resilience, that commitment,
Yeah.
that seems to be the goal of this wisdom culture.
I think so. It's about that enduring connection.
That feels really validating because the sources also speak directly to the listener, to you, if you've ever felt like maybe you're too much for wanting that kind of depth.
Yeah. What do they say?
They basically say, you're not. You're
Yeah.
absolutely not too much. You're just longing for something deeply human.
Something that maybe got lost or obscured in some of the more recent ways we've approached relationships.
Exactly. You're definitely not alone in wanting more than the shallow end of the pool.
So, okay, let's try and wrap this up. What's the takeaway for you, the listener? It seems the sources are pointing to this widespread tiredness with superficial games.
Yeah, a deep exhaustion. And underneath, this fundamental longing, like maybe even biological, to be chosen, to be known, and for someone to commit, to stay.
And the key idea isn't picking one bad extreme over the other. It's about finding that path of clarity.
Honoring yourself, but also intentionally building something real, something resilient, based on commitment, not just, sparks flying initially.
Right. And wanting that depth, wanting someone who sticks around when things get tough. The sources say that's not asking too much. It's fundamentally human.
It really is. And the sources end with quite a provocative statement, actually. They say love doesn't die when the games stop.
When does it die then?
It dies, they say, when we stop believing in depth.
Wow. That makes you think.
It really does. And it leaves us with a question for you to mull over. What does truly believing in depth actually look like in how you approach connection, how you approach relationships in your own life right now?